Good morning. How are you today? Well, it's a little cloudy, but it's like spring back again. So I guess my complaints were heard. So, well, those of us who followed the trial of Chauvin and the murder he committed of poor George Floyd, he's not out of the soup yet. And I'm not just talking about the sentences in Minneapolis that the judge will impose upon him. It appears that there was an incident that we've all heard about, but never in sufficient detail, at least I don't think so. In 2017, Chauvin beat up I don't know, 14 or 16 years old, but it was a minor. Hit him so hard he hit his head, causing him to bleed. And Chauvin put his knee to the young man's neck and was choking him. And the young man said, "I can't breathe." And his mother was there. And his mother was complaining and asking him to let her son alone and to let him live. And he did live. No charges were ever made. This is the old Minneapolis Police Department. But the Department of Justice is now going to investigate those charges. These incidents, or this incident, was brought up to the judge in Chauvin's trial, and the prosecutor wanted to use it as a prior similar act, but acceded to the defense demand that it not be used, that it was too prejudicial. I guess we could say we didn't need it since there was the conviction, and there are very few, maybe no issues to try to reverse it on appeal unless something happens at sentencing. But this is kind of a taste of justice. Now, there's a second chapter in this story, and that is the medical examiner Fowler from Maryland. He came up with this poppycock. There are a couple of things I'd pick out. One is he said it wasn't a homicide. Well, even the examiner in Minneapolis said it was a homicide, meaning one person killed another person. That's a homicide. And that's how it was defined in the autopsy, and that's how it was defined on the stand. But our boy Fowler said, no, it's not a homicide. And then he had a whole bunch of other reasons that he claimed were the cause, or could be the cause, including carbon monoxide. And I thought the prosecutor handled that very nicely and said, so if you put him near an exhaust on a car, isn't he held responsible for that too? Although we don't think that is the cause of death. Well, so what's happening to Fowler that would be considered just or justice? What's happened to Fowler is that they're investigating him in Maryland, not just for his testimony on the stand in Minneapolis for what distortion there may be, but also they're going to look at the 17 years he was the medical examiner and see what he did in those cases. And there were several controversial cases in Maryland which may make that pretty interesting. Now, we've had a spate of crime against persons of color by the police. And, I'm not going to go through those. They seem to follow a similar pattern. And the question is whether we're seeing them now because they're being reported and they weren't before, or is this some kind of perverse reaction to what was going on in Minneapolis? But it's not just police that are doing racist things. In Michigan, in a bar, this man, I think he's in his 20s, late 20s, early 30s, there was a guy in the bar who's a known racist. That is to say, he's always talking this way. And he kept using the N-word for this younger man. And then out of the blue, he just hit him once and really did a number on him. And he waited outside, apparently, outside the bar. And when the young man came out, he hit him at least 3 times, damaging him severely. Now, how does this come up now? The question was whether this man as a victim could sue the bar for not intervening in any way. And of course, they resisted it. Well, here's the really good ending. The courts decided, yes, you could sue the bar. So that's something you bars around the nation that just love to harbor these racist pigs, these white supremacists. You let them do this to a black person, you're going to find yourself out of pocket money and maybe out of business. And we can all celebrate that, because nobody should have to go into a bar and worry about the color of their skin and some maniac just cold cocking somebody because he doesn't like their color. Now, this sort of fits a scenario when I was younger in New York, and you may have heard of this, whether you're old enough or somebody may have talked to you about it. Kitty Genovese, she was a bartender. She worked late. She was coming home, I think it was Kew Garden, Queens, and she was attacked. And as the story goes, the first story by the Times, written a couple of days after her death, was that there were like 38 people who were interviewed who heard her screaming, and no one called the police, not a person. They all stayed out of it. Now, there was a controversy about whether 38 was an exaggeration and there were fewer people or no people, but I think by the time it got so publicized, the people who had admitted they did nothing, pretty embarrassing, pulled their heads back into their turtle shell and did the rest of the act. So it was like a inconsistent example of a lack of character to admit that they hadn't done anything and then to deny it and withdraw from their statement. Do I know this true? No, I don't know it's true, but I just have a feeling that if you gave me a couple of grand jury subpoenas back then, I could find that out. It doesn't say something good about the character of America, that those people who don't stand up for anyone else, those people, they have no business in our society. If you're not going to pull your own weight and you're not going to respect others, then who are you? You're not part of the society. You may not be part of the society. And we should stop pretending these Republicans who act like pigs are acceptable. What was No Jacket Jordan doing with a black member of Congress, Maxine Waters, when he interrupted her repeatedly? You know, I spent a lot of time on the Hill, and basically the pattern goes like this. If I have 5 minutes to talk, or 1 minute, or 1.5 minutes, and someone else wants to make a remark, they can say, will the honorable congressperson from California yield? And had she been asked that, which she was not, she probably would have said, no, I only have a little time and I want to finish it. But No Jacket Jordan is a racist. He has no business in the Congress, and he should be driven out of there. And we have to stop this mealy-mouthed nonsense that we can cooperate with Republicans when what they say is, oh yeah, we'll cooperate with you. But in the case of the police, we're not going to give in to qualified immunity. We're going to insist that they have it. And then, oh yeah, we'll work on rebuilding America. But we're not going to agree to taxes from the rich, even though we gave them a break and now we're just coming back a little bit for them to pay into the till to save America. So this is what we're dealing with. And we got to start talking frankly about Republicans who care and those who don't. And unfortunately, most of the Republicans don't give a damn. A Southern reference you may be familiar with. So anyhow, have a good day. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.